Stay Gurubhyo Namaga children, you are welcome for online learning, Academy, Ekalaiva. Class 10, this is your first prose, is First Flight by Liam O'Flaherty. Children, you know what is flight? Yeah, so we will be just flying. So you can take this flying in for many things, birds flying, flag flying, and you're coming out of a colorful thing, and if you win something, you'll be just in a happy mood, you'll be flying. So here it denotes about a bird's flight, and it is somehow related to us. Let us see about the author. Liam Flaherty from 1896 to 1984 is an Irish novelist and a short story writer. He is a major figure of Irish Renaissance. He was a founding member of a Communist Party of Ireland. Some of his best short stories were written in Irish. His autobiography, Shame the Devil, was published in 1934. His novel, The Informer, was made into a film. His First Flight and The Sniper are regarded as some of his best short stories. Collection of his short stories and letters were replied after his death. He is regarded as a strong voice for Irish nature and his culture. So I think you were well known by the author. So he is an Irish writer, novelist, and a short story, and he is well known for the Irish Renaissance. And his two short stories, The First Flight and The Sniper, was well known. And after his death also, he got many letters for this. So it was all amazing. And one we have for our lesson is First Flight, and we are going to learn about it. So children, I'll just give a gist of the lesson and we'll go for the lesson. His First Flight by Liam O'Flaherty is a true parable about overcoming fears in life. Every journey of 1,000 miles begins with single steps. Single step. But that single step is most difficult one to make. So that one single step is most difficult to make one. When we conquer the fear and venture forth, we will realize that we are born with wings. So when we will conquer something, we will be feeling that we were born with the wings. A young seagull looked desperately at the vast expanse of water that stretched before him. His parents, brothers, and little sister had flown away. They left him alone on the rock. There was no food and he was hungry. He could not fly. Many times he had tried to run forward to the brink of the ledge and flap his wings. But he could not fly. Many times he had tried to run forward to the brink of the ledge and flap his wings, but he was afraid that his wings would not support him. His parents made countless efforts to make him fly, yet they could not persuade him to make an attempt to fly. He was starving and felt that he could die if he did not get any food. He saw his mother approaching him with food and was very happy, but she stopped at a distance. He was very hungry, so he dived at the fish. His mother flew upward and he started falling. He was terrified for a moment, but then he realized that he was flying. In this way, he made his first flight. His parents and sister praised him. He was offered a scrap of dogfish. Okay, children, you understood that a bird, his parents and the bird's family is there. And in that, parents and the brother and sister started flying. The little one was not having guts to face and fly, and it was just waiting on one ledge all alone, and he didn't get food. He was hungry, and at last the mother made a technique, and with that he started flying. So let us see in the lesson how the bird had learned his first flight and how enjoyed after it. Okay, children? Okay. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings could never support him, so he bent his head and ran back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So parents all were flying, sister and brother were flying, and they were eating, diving, and they were just, this young seagull was little frightened, and it was having a fear that its wings will not support him to fly. So it is not going. It is going to the edge of the mountain rock where the cave is, and again it's going back. It is very clear, children? Okay. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around calling to him surely, scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. So here, his brother and sister had lesser than his wing. His wing was very long and it was very strong, but when compared to his brother and sister, but even then the fear in him was not allowed him to fly, and so he was just coming to the edge of the thing and just going back. And his brother and sister were having that courage and guts to face, and they started flying. And it was sitting in the ledge and just looking. That was 24 hours ago. So this happened 24 hours ago. So one day fully, they all stayed in the opposite side. He was all alone, left, and he was not having food for the whole day, as he had not courage to fly and catch a fish. So here mother, father and his brother and sister, they all had their food 24 hours before. That one day had gone, and it was just still in that part, and the parents and the brother and sister, his siblings, were just staying on the opposite edge, and it was all alone left, and the whole 24 hours he was not having any food to eat. Now just think over. Fact scene is his older brother catch his first earring and devour it standing on a rock, while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, laughing at his cowardice. So here you just think over, his brother was just catching a fish earring. So, and devour it standing on the rock. It was just cutting into pieces and eating. And the parents were just going around and just making a cackling sound. And they were appreciating him for the first hunt what he had made. And this side, the brother who was not having a courage, he was just sitting and seeing the brother who is just having his food, first meal, just made by himself. And he hunted himself and he was just eating it. And parents and sister, everyone was just appreciating him. And this, on the other side, the young seagull was looking at him, and how the parents and others were just encouraging him. And That covered eyes, they were just laughing at him, how covered he is, how he is not bold enough to come and fly like us. So they were just laughing at him. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing warmly on his ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Then he had found a dried piece of mackerel. So 24 hours before they started, and he didn't eat for the whole day. And night he had got some mackerel and he was just eating the shell, and it was not good also. And next day morning the bright sunlight was falling on him, and he was feeling very much worried that and tired that he didn't have the food at all for 24 hours. And the mackerel tail at the far end of his ledge, now there was not a single scrap of food left. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough, dirt-caked stub next to where he and his brother and sister had been aged. He even gnawed at the dried piece of eggshell. It was like eating a part of himself. So 24 hours he didn't get any food, and because of not getting a food, it was just feeling very sad. And it has come out from the egg, that shell he was just eating. He felt that he is eating himself, and it was not good taste. And he was trying that out of hunger. The shell which he came out, he was just eating, and it was not good. And it was his own part he is eating, he felt. He then trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other, his long grey legs stepping daintily, trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. But on each side of him, the ledge ended in the sheer fall of Persephone, with the sea beneath, and between him and his parents there was a deep white crack. That he want to, somehow it was just managing, walking up and down there. He want to go without flying and have some food. So it is not possible. A bird means it must fly, and then it have to hunt his own food. But here it is not. So brother, sister and the parents were opposite, and they were just having their food, and it was trying to get without flying, but it is not possible. Surely he could reach them without flying if he could only move northwards, only the cliff face. But then could he walk? There was no ledge, and he was not a fly, and above him he could see nothing. The precipice was sheer, and the top of it was perhaps further away than the sea beneath him. So here he just walked this ledge and to that ledge, but he was not having any way. Only at the ledge down there was water. He had to fly and get his food hunted by himself. Otherwise it will be hungry for that day also. So the mother, that loving nature, the mother bird doesn't know how to make. So it is planning, and these people were just laughing at him. This was the situation of the young seagull. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. Still they took no notice of him. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau dozing, with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back, only his mother was looking at him. So here when this side he was just standing and he was looking at the bird, and he found that nobody is not interested on him. Nobody was interested on him. And he was thinking whether others will be just looking at him. No. So here they were just standing, and their brother and sister was just dozing. Father was preening his feathers, only the mother who had love and soft corner for him, just looking at him. He was standing on the little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again, he tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scrubbed each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, scrubbing his beak now and again to eat it. He uttered a low cackle. His mother cackled too and looked at him. So here you want to have a piece of fish and you want to eat and you want to rub his beak and you want to take it, and he was just crackling, and mother also making a cackle sound, low cackle. His mother cackled too and looked at him. So here mother felt the pity for the younger thing. So the young seagull was very much worried. Brother and sister, they have had full and they were just flight. They were able to do it and get it. But here the cowardism in him made him not to fly, and that fear in him had not allowed him to fly. So it was hungry. For 24 hours ago, he had taken as a meal. That's it. Now the sound he is making. Ga, ga, he cried, begging her to bring him over some food. So by looking at the mother, he just want to bring his mother to bring him some food. So he is making a sound. Ga, ga, he cried, begging her to bring him over some food. Ga, aloha, she screamed back mockingly, but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. So here mother was just making a fun of him, and then he has noticed that his mother is just picking a fish and he is just coming, flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, abreast of the ledge, she halted, her legs hanging limbs, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. So here the mother want to teach him a lesson. So she had picked a fish and she fly near to him, and just before the beak, he was just keeping the fish in the mouth and just without motion, without even going near to him. It's just having a beak, a fish, and just motionless, it is waiting so that it will be just getting there. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish with a loud scream. He fell outward and downwards into the space. His mother had swooped upwards. As she passed beneath her, he heard the swishes of her wings. So here, what had happened? It was just the mother is waiting with the thing, and this maddened him. And what this young seagull is going to do, we'll see in the next class. Okay, children, the first part is over, and we will be just continuing in the second part. To receive our online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest update. Thank you, children. We'll meet you in the next part.